Hi folks, welcome back to the Horde. So it's about 4:30. It is 26.2 degrees Celsius, 53% humidity. That makes it like 78 degrees. It is the day before the 4th of July, 7/3, Friday. Let me see, this week, this was considered one of my short weeks. I had 2 11-hour days. It was my first week at the new job. New job, same as the old job. New boss, same as the old boss, right? It was interesting though, because we had to go through, set up all of our emails and benefits, and in my case I'm on salary, so I don't have to do a time card, but had to go through that whole database. I mean, literally, it's unbelievable. It was like 2 days worth of work to set all this junk up. I now have another half a dozen passwords that I have to remember to get into the various payroll and retirement account and healthcare account and email and so forth. So there's like another half a dozen passwords, and I have a little trouble remembering my own name. You can see how much trouble I have with all your names, so you can imagine me with a bunch of new passwords to think about. After falling on my tail here, I'm like a little extra careful on these stairs. Anyway, what am I up to today? I have what I call a major road trip, and some of my vehicles are, I don't even think twice about taking them on a long road trip because I've owned the vehicles forever. The F150 I've owned forever. The Tacoma is new, so I don't worry about it too much. This particular truck though, I bought it used 4 years ago. So I bought it, in 2011? Yeah, 2011. So, and it's been a good truck. It's given me no reason to mistrust it. Recently, I had the gas tank straps replaced, so the gas tank isn't going to fall out. It doesn't use any oil. I go from oil change to oil change, and it seems to hold its oil. It's got the 6-cylinder 4.2 liter in it. But I like to go through a pre-flight and take a few things along just in case. I've recently changed oil, and I've driven it around since I've changed the oil, and it's not leaking anything. It doesn't use any antifreeze. It doesn't smell like antifreeze, so it's not steaming it up or dripping it on a manifold or anything. I've told you guys I have trouble with the radiator mounts. The lower radiator mounts look like this. See how thin this is, stamped metal, and see how rusty this is up here. Imagine them on the bottom, exposed to all the salt and all of the northeast, so they literally rotted out. What it is there's mounts for the cab right underneath where I'm tapping. You just go straight down, and the bolt to the motor mount just has a little L bracket or Z bracket like that, and the radiator has a peg in it like that, and it just goes into that on the bottom. This side is completely gone. It's not there. On that side, there's just a little piece left. What I've done is on both sides I've put rubber bushings and tie wrapped them to the frame down there, and then I've tied wrapped this up. And I'm glad I did the pre-flight, because as I was going by, this was sagging even as it was sitting on the bushing, so I took care of it. I do like to give, once again, the motor a quick look over to make sure that, I don't come out here and find this used mouse nest that they built over the last 3 days that's going to catch fire as I'm driving down the road, right? That kind of makes for a bad day. What do I bring along? I mean, this is a Craftsman major socket set, bungee type things. water to drink. Probably throw in some more of that. Obviously, breaker bars and sockets for taking the wheels off. While we're doing this little pre-flight, I'm also making sure I'm taking a little bit of inventory. It's full of gas. I throw a jump pack in. It's charged. I just took it off a charger. That's a first aid kit. Not that I plan on cutting myself up. A couple of gallons of water. That's 50-50. That's water. Quart of oil, even though once again it doesn't use one. That's another toolkit that has, you know, dikes and all that kind of stuff. I have gloves, jumper cables, things for inflating the tire, scissor jack, tie wraps, a cane just in case for some reason my hip decides to become a real problem. I got the GPS there. Obviously I'll bring along my cell phone. You can see more rope. This has a spare tire in the back underneath. I don't know how hard it would be to get out from under there, so I threw a spare tire and the jack, the lightweight jack in here. Sometimes the spare tire could be, an extra spare tire could be helpful for rigging, trying to get stuff in and out. My friend and I are both going to be there, so we're just going to jackass the three-wheelers in. Basically the load consists of 2 complete three-wheelers, a pair of 200S's. So I can easily put a pair of 200S's in there. Heck, I squeezed a 200M and a pair of 200S's all at the same time onto the Ranger. So a pair of 200S's, piece of cake on that. And then there's probably another 2 bikes in parts. No frames, but no frames, no rear ends, but plastic tires, junk like that. So without the frames, they actually squeeze in better, right? So, and I have all the space behind the driver's seat empty, and I got the passenger seat empty, so I really have quite a bit of space in there. You guys also noticed there was quite a bit of loose paper and plastic floating around in the back of the truck. There's 2 reasons for that. First of all, I'm a slob, but second of all, I deliberately leave that there just in case I'm going to put an engine block on the floor. I'd rather not trash the floor of my truck. So as I'm walking toward the truck with the engine block in my hand going, oh crap, I don't want to put this down again, I can kind of press it up against my body with one hand, reach behind the seat and grab a piece of cardboard, plastic, rag, whatever's back there easily to put my hot little hands on, paper bag, and throw it underneath the passenger, put it on the floor on the passenger side, put the engine down on it. That way I don't mess up my truck too much. My thoughts on the F-150. I basically paid out the door somewhere around $5,500, give or take a few hundred. And it's got an inspection sticker on it, which means I'm going to have, by the time the inspection sticker goes bad, I will have had the truck for 60 months. So I've put around 12,000 miles on the truck. My trucks all have an easy life. Well, let me rephrase that. My trucks don't go far, but they don't have the easiest of lives. A lot of times they're called to carry some pretty heavy loads. So I don't off-road my trucks. I really do my best not to beat on them, like, climb a mountain, running it through ruts and hills and dales and all kinds of stuff to pick something up. Normally it's highway. They don't get beat on from a pothole or off-roading point of view, but they do get beat on pretty good from a weight point of view. Whenever my trucks go out, typically they're carrying weight. So for those 12,000 miles on that thing, probably 6,000 of them, it was heavily loaded, right? 6,000 to go get the load and 6,000 to carry the heavy load back. So my trucks do work when there's work to be done, they do it. Anyway, I think I'm just going through my mind as I'm talking to you guys. I don't think there's anything else I can really throw in there other than a spare truck. Yeah, my thoughts back to the F-150. I'm trying to own it for basically $100 a month, and in its current condition, for everything I've spent on it, including the front end parts, the tires, all that junk, I'm going to do that, and I'll make it to next year's inspection. Depending on what it needs to get through inspection, and what's scary on an older vehicle like that here in New York is they fail emissions, like the evap goes bad, the evap system, you end up with that light. And in New York, you could get through emissions if you can show $1,500 worth of receipts that you spent on repairs. Well, first thing I'm going to do if the thing's got the evap light on is go to the internet and try everything I can on there. So I'll have a bunch of receipts for parts, but I won't have any labor costs. So that's kind of what kills old trucks here in New York, is the inability to get them through inspection, particularly the emissions part. I mean, one could do brakes and get the frame patched up and junk like that, but if you can't get through emissions, you can't get a sticker. You can't get a sticker as you're driving up and down the road. You're just pleading to pay tickets. So anyway, that's where I am. That's where it is. I guess I'm wrapping it up for the day. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing, for joining me for these road trip preps. I really appreciate all the support. I'm a little behind on some of the comments, but I am catching up. So you guys will see. You'll see me catching up there. Some of the questions, just quickly, somebody asked a question and I've lost it, and I've found it and I've lost it a couple of times. Can you put a 200X jug on a 200S? I think that's basically the question, or maybe it's the other way around. The answer is Tom Martin has done it. If I personally, before I'm going to say yes for sure, I dug up a 200S jug and head, and what I want to do, or cylinder bore and head, which is kind of what you call a jug, all that put together. Well, I call a jug. Actually, the jug is just the bore with the fins on it. Can that be done? The answer is anything could be done. If I were to do it, I would do the jug. I would do the head also. That way I'm sure the oil passages, I'm sure that I'm getting oil up there. Sometimes if you swap a 200S head onto a 200X jug or vice versa, you might not be getting the oil you're thinking of. And also there's for the head gaskets, there's a little bit of difference depending on the year. The ATC 200 head gaskets, if you get some new old stock or stuff that's been cut using them as a mold, some of them are a little different. They're not as universal as the newer 200S ones. So what you worry about is you worry about making sure that you're getting oil up there. I mean, obviously you're worried about the other physical things, like, the timing chain going on, and getting the right being able to tension it properly and all that, having the right tooth count, all that kind of junk. And I believe that works. For me, when you finally get it all put together, then you got to worry about getting oil up there and making sure everything's going to stay lubricated, because you're all proud of yourself, because look at me, I just Frankensteined an engine. And then, you do all that work, and then Frankenstein goes out for a 5-mile ride and dies, and your friends have to tow you home, right? Or you're out in the middle of trespassing somewhere and the thing dies, and you got to leave your pride and joy behind as you run for the hills. I don't know. I don't think you buy all that much extra performance moving from a 200X jug and head from a 200S jug and head. I don't think things are changing all that much. Maybe you pick up 10% more horsepower. Are you really dying for that 10% more horsepower? I'd have a tendency to look around and put the OEM stuff on. That way you could get the maximum life out of it, not worry. Just that was just one of the questions that was hanging out there that I've been meaning to answer, but I haven't. All right, folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and get out there and enjoy all your days. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the rain, enjoy the cold, enjoy them all, because you don't know how many of them you're going to get. So get out there. Once again, thanks for watching and commenting and subscribing. And 51 Zebra, I'll get your grinder in the mail for Monday. It's still sitting in the garage there, so I gotta get it to the post office. It's too late today, and tomorrow's 4th of July, so it's closed. So that slips it out to Monday. Sorry about that. Take care, folks. Bye.